Book 3 Chapter 2 Episode 42. Preparations. I was with the Duke's family in the room, enjoying a Rance tea as I reported to them. Did the guild listen? Yes, and I just hired 3 tamers today. Already? Isn't that a little fast? Maybe, but I found some good ones. The guild master of the Merchants Guild agreed. Oh, that's a relief. Also, they all have a history with researching slimes, so they seem highly motivated. Apparently because it'll help them get back at somebody. Or something. I see. So that's why. If they have good reason to work with you, maybe that makes them more trustworthy. After we discussed the store, Reinhardt told me about the Growl Frog outbreak as well. They were planning to make a contract with a Limor bird in a couple days. The next day, I popped into the store in the morning and told them about tomorrow's plans to make sure I had time available. Culkin gave me some tips about Limor birds. Thank you. You certainly know a lot about them. Well, I do try to make a contract with one every year, Culkin laughed. It's never worked. But I know how to do it. At least. What about this year? I was planning to try until yesterday, but now that I'm working here, I don't especially care about Limor birds anymore, he said with a smile. He was happy to work for me, thankfully. I left the store in a good mood and headed to Sergei's place next. Welcome, Master Ryoma. Good morning, Serge. I'm here to deliver some waterproof cloth. Thank you. The cloth from a couple days ago? I suppose you must have advertised it yesterday as well, because 5 customers came for those clothes. How have they been selling? Those 5 aside, I sell at least a few every day. Quite a few adventurers already seem to know about them. And some even buy sets for their allies. Come to think of it, back when I was cleaning those tanks, I walked around in those clothes every day. Maybe they drew attention. That's probably it. The demand may increase quicker than anticipated. I have 70 strips of cloth for you today, but I should still be able to produce more. I'll expand my workspace and try to make as many as possible. Thank you, but don't push yourself too far, Serge warned. Even he seemed to think that I work too much. I'll be fine. The store doesn't need me anymore. And most of the time I spend on the waterproof cloth involves waiting for them to dry. So I'm not left with much to do. If you say so, Serge said and eyed me suspiciously, then checked my cloths and paid me the manufacturing fee. I took some unprocessed cloth and headed to the mine. Just as I arrived at the mine, I asked my sticky slimes to handle the cloths, then took my 2 earth slimes and my scavengers to another mine shaft to create a new workspace. I had the earth slimes use create block to dig holes, while the scavengers carried the blocks, leaving me to reinforce the walls. We created more stands to increase our waterproof cloth production rate. As a result, we were able to produce 140 strips of cloth, double our previous record. It looked like the sticky slimes could still go further, but I decided that 150 would be our maximum. I didn't want them to overdo it. The slimes did a lot of work that day, so I let them off without any training. I used water magic to fill up a stone bowl one created with earth magic. The slimes gathered around to drink from it, and as I watched them, something occurred to me. Maybe the earth and dark slimes weren't the only ones that absorbed magic energy. To test it out, I released some non-elemental energy. The other slimes didn't absorb it with the same vigor as the elemental ones, but they all seemed to consume some amount. I tried out different elements and found that the sticky slimes preferred their energy. Non-elemental poison slimes liked the poison element, and the metal and iron slimes enjoyed the earth element. The earth and dark slimes' preferences should go without saying. The biggest surprises were the bloody slime that liked non-elemental and water energy. The acid slimes that liked poison and water, the cleaner slimes that liked water and light, and the scavenger slimes that liked earth and dark. They all enjoyed 2 elements about equally, so some slimes had multiple preferences. The healing slimes liked non-elemental, water, and light energy, but preferred healing spells most of all. I didn't know why this one slime liked magic spells more than energy, but it was a chance to practice my healing magic, so I couldn't complain. Soon enough, the healing slimes were ready to multiply. Magic energy must have acted as a form of sustenance for them. I would have to look into that later, but for now, I made a contract with the new slimes. Now I had 4 healing slimes. After that, I prepared for the contract with the Lemur bird by taking a guitar out of my item box and practicing with it. I played guitar as a hobby and never got that good. Hopefully it would be enough for the contract to work, but it wasn't worth worrying about. If I failed, I could always find other bird monsters. I killed time until the cloths dried, then returned to town and went to Sergey's store as usual. Now he had enough to fill up on his stock of waterproof cloth for the time being. He said that manufacturing them into clothes would take time, so he didn't need any more deliveries for a while. Maybe he was a bit hesitant to give me even more work. Most of that work was done by the slimes, though. I decided to make all my remaining cloth into waterproof cloth for the future. I left Sergey's store, looked at the sky, and thought for a bit. My work had ended at an awkward time. If I returned to the inn now, there would be nothing for me to do, but there was no time to go back to the mine and train. At times like these, there was no better place to go than the church. When I got to the church, the woman from when I got my status board created was outside the gate. "Oh, you're the boy from before. Nice to see you again. Welcome. What business do you have here today?" "I came to pray." "I see. Then come this way, please." Much like last time, I took a seat in the chapel and clasped my hands together in prayer. I expected to go to the world of the gods like I always did, but nothing happened. Maybe I was wrong to think it would happen every time. Or so I thought, but then everything flashed white. Well, now I'm here, as usual. Strange that it took longer this time, though. Sorry about that, I hardly ever gotta use this power. It takes time, someone answered from behind me. I turned around and saw a short, hairy, middle-aged man carrying a barrel under his right arm, drinking from a wine bottle in his left hand. I could immediately tell this was the god of wine. "Are you Tekken, god of wine?" I asked to make sure. "Yeah, I'm Tekken. And sure, I'm a god, but don't feel like you have to kiss up to me. I can read your mind, so not much point in showing your respects verbally. I hate when humans do that, waste of time. Anyway, have a seat." I never thought about it before, but maybe the formalities humans used with each other were meaningless to a being that could read minds. I did as Tekken asked and sat in place. "Alright then, I'll make it simple. Nice to meet you. I'm Ryoma Takebashi. Thanks for blessing me. I've seen you plenty, kid. This isn't much of a first meeting for me." The blessing was nothing, really. "I just gave it to you because you happen to seem interesting," Tekken said and took a drink from his bottle. "Are you the only one here today?" "Yeah, the others are off doing their own thing. The god of war, the god of magic, the god of land, they're all off in what you humans would call their homes. They all look like white voids, but they're actually pretty comfy." "I see, I didn't know about those. So is this your home?" "Nah, I don't got no home. I'm a god of work and wine, and there are all sorts of places where you can partake in those. I just wander between worlds when I feel like it." "You can do that?" "Sure, your world and ours are actually connected. Ask someone else for more details about that though. Explaining stuff's not my strong suit. Anyway, have a drink," Tekken said and pulled a goblet full of wine out of thin air. It was golden, decorated with silver and small jewels. "Cheers. Cheers. This is delicious," I shouted. It was particularly sweet wine. A human blessed by the god of agriculture used soil blessed by the god of land to produce the fruit and flower honey. Then an artisan blessed by myself made the fruit wine. Of course it's delicious. Neat. Can I find this somewhere when I get back? And can I get some land blessed too? Glad you like it, but this was an offering to the gods. These get given to us, then what's left over is shared between the artisans. Doubt you'll find it easily. As far as getting a blessing, I can only bless people, but the god of land blesses the soil. There are some other gods who bless the places they like too. You know Gain, and that guy blessed this entire world way back in the day. Seeing as how he's the creator and all. Well, by now the creatures of this world have grown to do their own thing, so Gain's blessing isn't as effective in as many places. Same goes for me, but that's also because I stopped giving out many blessings. Like, say I like a guy for putting so much work into smithing, so I bless him. Now he's able to make good stuff, but he starts to slack off because of it, so I take the blessing back. Tekken said and took a drink from his bottle. By the way, you know where Gain and the rest of those guys have been going? They've been going somewhere. Yeah? I've hardly seen hide or hair of them lately. They just up and vanish all the time. Not like there's much work to do, so it's not that big a deal, but this never happened before, so I'm curious. I wouldn't know. I can't come to this world unless I'm summoned here, I explained, but then I remembered what Kufo told me last time I was here. Maybe they've been going to the world I first came from. That world. What was it? Earth? Yeah, Earth. Kufo told me that he'd Gain and a couple others were going to Earth to go sightseeing. What? Sightseeing in another world? The hell are they up to? Tekken cried. Is something weird about that? Gods don't usually interfere in the worlds they're not in charge of. When we bring folks like you over from other worlds, it's only because our world is in trouble. We don't just go sightseeing willy-nilly. But that's definitely what Kufo said. Gain was getting into idols, Luludia wanted to try a bunch of sweets, and Kufo wanted to explore unexplored places or something. How could that be? You sure about that? I don't know anything about idols, but that doesn't sound right. Yeah, I'm telling the truth. I mean, it's not impossible that they went, but that'd typically piss off the gods in that world. It's never happened before you came to this world. Wait, could it be? Tekken suddenly roared and stood straight up. What's wrong? Damn them, I know there hasn't been a whole lot to do, but don't tell me they were negotiating with other gods to get permission to go sightseeing. They're not the only ones with time on their hands, but are they really gonna go have fun without me? Tekken quivered, picked his barrel back up, and shouted. They won't get away with this. I'll find them, I swear it. When he was about to run off, I called out to stop him. Hey? What am I supposed to do? Oh, sorry, but you should be sent back when enough time passes. Just drink and wait till you can leave. If you pour magic energy into that goblet, it'll generate an endless supply of wine. Anyway, I gotta rush. See ya. Wait. Wow, you're fast. Tekken ran away faster than the eye could see. The rate at which he ran didn't seem to match the distance he traveled. He was already out of sight, leaving me behind. I didn't know what I could do here by myself, so I decided to drink. It still tasted great, but I wanted something to eat along with it. Unfortunately, there was nothing around me except the wine and the goblet. Tekken said I could make more wine by filling the goblet with magic energy, but that wouldn't give me food. If I could use magic energy here, though, maybe I could use magic spells too. I cast item box and opened up a black hole in the air. Item box appeared to work from any location. I checked to see if I had anything to eat, but there was nothing. I had been keeping all my food in the fridge at my store. I pulled out a few random items from the item box, but didn't find anything edible. Eventually a light began to shine, signaling that it was time for me to go back. I guzzled down the rest of the wine in one gulp and put all the items away as quickly as possible. Just as I closed the entrance to the item box, the light grew brighter and I returned to the world I came from. Wondering if I made it in time, I used item box and checked on my items. Everything that I had taken out in the world of the gods was placed back inside, thankfully. It was unfortunate that I had to drink all that wine at once, though. I would have liked to take the time to savor it. No alcohol had made me feel that way in a long time. Mildly disappointed, I offered a small donation to the church, then decided to leave.